Construction champions, it's your host Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast. Where, as always, we're burning the damn house down. And that house is your business, your personal relationships, your relationship with yourself, everything. If we just throw everything in that house that's holding you back from being the champion that you're meant to be, we're burning that to the ground. And then we're bringing amazing guests on here and we're rebuilding you up. So I get the privilege of burning you down, and then we bring experts on that can help you be better and become that champion. It's such a great setup. It's why you guys don't tune in for me. It's why you tune in for our amazing guests, and today is no different. Chad, it is fantastic to have you here today.
Ron, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. So it sounds like you've got demo and abatement covered, and I've got the rest of the trades. That's what's
There
happening.
you go. Yeah, that's what happens, you know?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for our conversation, but before we dive in, I always like our guests to introduce themselves to all the champions out there listening so we know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name's Chad Prinkey. I am the founder and CEO of Well Built Consulting. We are a 10-person and growing. We should have 11 and 12 by the end of, from hell, maybe even by the end of the year. Consultants spread out across the United States. It's a very, very cool business that is dedicated to making the construction industry a better place to work for the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and a better type of company to own for those people who are giving birth to these companies, those founders, the CEOs and executives out there, were there to make both of their lives better. I've been doing this work for 17 years. All we do is work with construction companies. If you ask me about any other kind of business, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But when it comes to construction, I am reasonably well read.
Awesome. I love it. Oh, in 17 years, I mean, you've probably seen quite a bit. You've been around,
Yeah.
been around the block a little bit. And that's what matters. That's, what I love. I say it on here all the time, is what I love about consultants, agencies, like anybody that is in support of the construction industry,
Mm.
is that there's such a wealth of knowledge because you get to see so much more. Like I spent over a decade in construction, scaling a construction business, and I would say I have a better fingerprint and more knowledge on the construction industry right now because I see it from a more broad perspective, not
Yeah.
just the geographic or area that I was in. And it's such a
Yep.
game changer.
And what build on that, Ron, is personal experience. Completely agreed. So like I feel like I do have a very broad and clear understanding of the construction industry. I personally worked in a hands-on, in-depth, up to my eyeballs in their company way with over 250 contractors over the course of that 17 years. But I've never done it. I've never been a contractor. So everybody I hire comes from the space. They come from general contractors and trade contractors and a combination of both, and even some owners rep sort of side of the business, and that type of stuff. So while I've seen it and touch, I really have seen a lot over the course of that time. What I've never had to do is wake up and live it every single day as a part of it, and that's one of the things we've committed to making sure we're doing is we're hiring people with even more credibility, frankly, than I have, from doing it.
Awesome. I love that. And for some of us crazies like myself, we think the waking up and doing it every day was the funnest part of it all along the
Yeah,
journey.
yeah, yeah.
But
You're a sick
there's
man.
a lot of people that will argue with me on that one. But let's dive in there, man. I can't wait to hear your answer to the $1 million question, which is what makes a construction champion?
Ever found yourself revisiting a project because of a small miscommunication? It's frustrating and costly. That's why I switched to BuilderComms. Their construction communication management solution cuts through the noise, ensuring my team is always on the same page. Now, missteps are rare and rework is a thing of the past. Ready to streamline your projects? Check out BuilderComms today.
Putting people first. putting people first, recognizing that it is human beings that build the structures that we live, work, and play in. And that without the human beings who are involved in that effort, nothing else happens. We've got to prioritize.
Did I lose you there?
Those people. Oh no. Can you hear me?
We might have had a little bit of a glitch there.
We may have
But
had a glitch.
I love the answer. Prioritize people. It's people. Like,
People first. If
yeah, people
construction
first.
champions understand that they don't, I was having a conversation with a general contractor, and most of our, all of our clients are commercial first. Some of our clients have a residential aspect of their business, but all of our clients are commercial first construction companies, right? And I was talking with one of those commercial general contractors recently, and I said, "Hey man, what are you building?" He goes, "Me, nothing." He goes, "I got a whole bunch of trade contractors out there building some really cool shit though." And I said, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Like people who see it through that true lens, that real lens, that there are humans who are out there. Those are the superheroes. Those are the people who are actually getting it done on a day-to-day basis. And if you think about it that way, just yesterday, man, I was with a group so big. I'll just say a bunch of big shots, very big shots. Okay, with one of the top nationally recognized universities in the country and one of the top 5 general contractors in the world. And I'm hanging out with this group of people, right? And this really sharp dude in the audience, in that group goes, look, if we're going to build a successful project here, we've got to keep in mind that we are the coaches and trainers. We are not the talent. We are not the players. And if you think about what do you do to make your team more interesting and something that more desirable to the players, your facilities, you got to make sure these people feel cared for. And dude, how many times you go out to a job site and the porta potties, disgusting, or like that kind of stuff. And that's how you know that you don't have people first leadership on that job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think like guys don't want like we don't want to go to work at Google, but we don't want it to be the homeless encampment in
Right.
Southern California either.
That's right.
And like there's a happy medium to that. And I think that's missed in the construction space where we think it's like word class facilities and all of this stuff that a lot of guys just don't really care about. They just want it to be nicer than ever. You just want to be nicer than everybody else around and give them stuff they care about, like new trucks,
That's
new
right.
tours, like work uniforms that actually work for them,
That's right.
boots. Like
Yep.
they don't need the newest, latest, greatest coffee machine. The office staff might, but like we have to look at it in the construction realm. At most of these guys' lives are spent in the trucks on the road working with the tools we supply them with.
That's right.
What does that look like?
That's right. Yep, couldn't agree more. And so, again, you've got a choice, right? Every day you can create an environment that is better for your people. And you can believe that if your people are happier, they're going to create a better result and make more money for the organization. Or you can try to save money by not providing your people with those things. And I'm going to tell you, what you save up front, you lose on the back. And when you ask what makes a construction champion, my friend, that to me is at the crux of what makes the difference between a construction champion and a construction average team.
Yeah, I agree because there's such a mindset perspective that changed. I remember when we decided we were going to become a company that people wanted to work for and they wanted
Mhm.
to have their friends come work for. instead of being a company just like every other construction company that has a hard time hiring people and keeping people around, did it help with our retention? Absolutely. But what it really helped with was our ability to bring people in when we needed to hire. It wasn't like we had to put an ad out and we had to wait and then do all these interviews. We had a bench. We had people that were waiting, and we'd ask our current staff first. Before, we would be like, do we want to even ask them? Like, do we want more of
Right.
them? Like, but that was
Yeah.
because we
We
were
want more
bad
of these
hires.
losers.
Well,
Right.
yeah, we
Yeah.
were bad hires.
Right.
Like I don't want his brother here. Like he's not even the guy himself. That's a leadership failure, and we realized that. And then we decided we're going to become that kind of company, and that's what you're saying is what that is. And I've never put a name to it, but that's what it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. So all of our clients, the reason that they hire us, okay, is that, usually the thing they come to us and they say is, we want to make more money. Acknowledged, right? We want to make more money. Hey, I'm with you, and I want to help you to make more money. Let's make that happen with you. But you've got to have a philosophy. You've got to buy into the idea that you make more money by making your customers happier and making your employees happier. And frankly, in reverse orders, making your employees happier, making your customers happier, delivering more value, getting paid more for what you do, and not having to be in the low bid rat race that everybody else is playing in. Now, the truth is, there's a very small percentage of companies that truly get to play at the level that I just described, but it is happening. It's happening every day. There is a way to not have to be dragged down into the low bid mud.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to make that decision. It's just a different. That word exists, and anybody can go there, but nobody can go there. Like it's all up to you. Like you have to be willing to make the decisions to build that company to
That's
go
right.
there. And you
And
guys,
I think the painful thing, Ron, if I'm being totally honest, is like, because I have empathy for the contractors that aren't there today who are like, yeah, it sounds great, but also sounds kind of like BS. I get it. And I think the biggest trouble with just, you can't snap your fingers and make it happen. And the biggest trouble with it is it costs more money. And at a certain point, it's kind of chicken or the egg. And I think what owners have to kind of develop an appetite for, the owners of these companies have to develop an appetite for investing in their business and delaying financial gratification and not making as much this year as you would want to make as you build this company into the company you want it to be. And then doing that this year and next year and the next year. And oh my gosh, it might be like 8 years. But eventually, you're going to have industry beating performance. And with that industry beating performance, you're going to be playing a totally different game. And the financial rewards are worth the wait.
absolutely. And I love how you shifted your verbiage you used around that because you led with cost because that's what everybody thinks. And as soon as you said that, my mind, I go, well, it's an investment.
Right.
And you then said that because that's truly what it is. Like there's a mindset shift that has to happen in these owners to where they have to understand that this is not a cost. This is an investment. Like new trucks for your guys where they spend all their time. If you've got raggedy old trucks and they're breaking down and it makes your guys' life miserable, and you can go out and you have the ability to get new truck, that is an investment in your
Yes.
business,
Yes.
in your ability to be able to recruit people. It's the biggest billboard you have. Like, but we look, a lot of guys would be like, that's a cost. Like, I don't want
That's a
to have to
cost.
spend that money to have a new truck. Like, if anybody's getting a new truck, God damn it, it should be me. And like that's such a wrong perspective to have. Like it should be an
But it's also
investment.
so understandable, and I really do get it. I agree, it's wrong, but it's so understandable. And these guys, they are, look, it's my mortgage that's on the line, not these guys. It's my personal guarantee, it's my livelihood, my, all those types of things. But you really do have to appreciate how all those things work together. If you'll allow me to be a financial nerd for like a minute,
Absolutely, man.
so you've got revenue minus direct cost equals gross profit. Then you've got gross profit minus indirect costs, right? Which kind of leads to this, I'll call it the real gross profit number, right? Which is then we take and have all your overhead lines. And that's all the companies ever look at. But there's something that I really try to do with our clients where we go from revenue to gross profit right after direct and indirect costs. And then I say, okay, but let's insert a line here called growth investment or growth. I like calling it growth fuel. And let's say this is the money that we don't have to spend. This is the money that we're choosing to spend so that we have a better business tomorrow than we do today. And instead of looking at it like overhead trucks, right, or indirect costs in that case, but like instead of looking at it like overhead like trucks or tools or a new facility or building out that space out in the current garage so that it's got heat and air conditioning and so that my people can like all that kind of stuff, all those things that I would throw into overhead. Let's call that growth fuel. Because what we're really doing is we're investing in building a business that creates happier employees. Because we know if we got a business that creates happier employees, they create happier customers, and if they create happier customers, we make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that's if you're looking at it like, man, my net profit is 3%, right? Which might suck. I get it. That hurts. I'm with you. That's a bummer. If you told me it was 3%, but you spent 4% of that, what could have been 7%, becoming an awesome company for next year, I'd be like, hey man, 7% is not bad. They're like, nah, I made 3. Nah, you really didn't. You made 7, but you made investments, and that's awesome.
I
Right?
love how you're shifting that, how we phrase that, because as growth takes it is heavily capital heavy.
Yep.
It's employee heavy. It's just hard. Like scaling any business is hard. Scaling a construction business where there's a lot of people involved is even harder than
Agreed.
most people can ever imagine. And you have to be willing to put that investment. You have to figure out what is it. I love what you said towards the beginning, where you're like, this could take 5 to 8 years. You have to look at this as what can we do, me as the owner, that delay gratification. And it doesn't mean that you have to be on beans and rice,
Right. No, you don't
but
have to
it
be on
doesn't have,
welfare. Yeah.
but you don't have to be the most extravagant either. What can we put back into this business and I can maintain to keep my lifestyle and grow my lifestyle? We all have a vision of why we started the business and where we wanted that life to be at. So we should be moving towards that. We don't have to get there overnight, especially if you're laying the foundation for what's going to be the future. I have watched guys do this and in 5, 7 years make the decision to hire a GM, and they got a $7 million a year construction company that they spend 1 day a month working in because they
Yep. That's right.
delayed, and now they collect.
7 figures
Yeah, I
in
like
personal
they
income and
yeah
the company, right?
they collect a check, and
most
it's
of most of the owners that I work with, I would be really, really clear. Most of the owners that I work with are making 7+ figures in personal income from their construction businesses after they go through the investment phase. But the investment and if we've done it right, they are not working. They're working because they want to work. They're not
yeah,
working because they have to.
yeah, and I
But
would have to
that is not
guess.
a thing you snap your fingers and do. It's a long-term business decision that you've got to make. And one of the biggest problems is a lot of the audience, right? Like you might be 52 years old and you might be like, I've been doing this for 30 years already, damn it, and I'm still not there, right? And how much more do I have to lay gratification? And I with if you have a really good jumping off point, it doesn't have to take that long. I've got clients that over a 2-year period, full blown makeover. But you have to be very intentional. And in those situations, they've got a nice frame, foundation to build upon.
Mm-hmm. And I'd have to get, I mean, most of these guys that are out there that are scraping by, making low six figures, if that, wondering how they can possibly get this here, I would probably have to think that 7, 8 years ago, those are some of your clients that are now making over seven figures. I mean,
100%.
like that's how it works. It's once it clicks and you understand this because you only got to get it so far, and then
Yep.
it becomes a numbers game. And it's
That's exactly
literally
right.
like, what do we want to do in revenue? And you just go out and you can get the leads because you understand how to do that. You know all your numbers. You just funnel it right on down. And at the end of the year, you miraculously do that amount of revenue and you miraculously make this amount of money. But you have to set the foundation of that. And the foundation is not you. The foundation is everybody else around you, that supporting cast, the players, the talent. I love when you said the talent because that's what they are. This is like we're right now in it's signing like college football. Everybody's signing
Exactly.
and picking who they're going to. Like that's what this is how good of a recruiting class can you have for 7 years straight?
That's right.
Look at Georgia. It
What
took
kind of
Kirby
what kind of that you got it. What kind of player facilities do you
6 years.
have? Right. What kind of player facilities do you have? What kind of clear player development do you have? What track record do you have that your players climb the ladder? What play,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? What all those types of things. That's what you need to be selling. And if you don't have a good story to sell, man, you gotta fix that. Now you don't have to have everything all at once. It takes time to become a Georgia. It takes time to become an Ohio State,
Well,
right?
no,
It
and that's
takes
the
time.
thing is you look. I think I'm an Ohio State fan, so I have some whatever with what we currently have going on. But
Yeah.
what do you think? So he's in his 6th year. Like this stuff just doesn't happen overnight.
That's
You
right.
look at it, it took Kirby Smart 6 years, and then now they're a dynasty. Like for 6 years. He grinded it out. Top recruiting class, not winning national championships. Now they just expect it. Alabama, Nick Saban, same thing. What did it take him? 7 or 8 years to win his first
Yep.
national championship at
Yep.
Alabama?
Yep.
People just assume the reality of what's happened the most recent is their entire history. And that's
Dude, you
not even
don't
the
see the
truth.
work. You never see the work.
Yeah.
You never see the blood, sweat, and tears that these guys put in. You never see the parties they didn't attend. The vacations they never took. You know what I mean. The yacht they never bought. Bringing it
Hmm.
back into our world of. When you're that construction owner and you're looking at your buddy who owns a construction business and he's got his third home and sixth boat and all that kind of stuff, and you feel like you deserve that stuff. Hey man, nothing is given. You got to build it. And the reality is, uh, you definitely don't need to hire me to do that. There are lots of people doing it without it, but what I did is I wrote a book. It's called Well Built, and it is about the habits and the behaviors of the top 2% of contractors I've had a chance to be around. And what I did was kind of put it into a system that you could emulate. And it's kind of like a peer group with top performing contractors boiled down to a book, right? And
Yeah.
uh, it's I'm sure there's opportunities to improve on the book. It's imperfect, but it was my best. It was my best shot, right? Of kind of setting forth and writing like, hey, here's what I mean by people first, and here's how you create consistently industry beating performance. Here's how you become Georgia. Here's how you become Alabama.
I love it. I mean, that's what it's the playbook. Like it just lays it out. But okay, so I mean, I'm pretty open and honest on this show. Is like playbooks are only going to get you so far for most people. Most it's the discipline and is what people lack. They need somebody to push them. So I
Yep.
would say 1% of people can do this by themselves. I'm a high disciplined person and I have mentors and I have I have people that are helping guide me.
Same.
And I have more discipline than anybody I've ever met.
Yep.
And it takes such a special individual. And I know a lot of people listening are probably thinking I can do this by myself. And you have to be just such the obnobility to be able to do something like this yourself. And I'm not, so like I've said on here before, if Chad speaks your language and you relate to him, then he might be your guy. But like you just have to find that person that is going to drive you, hold you accountable, that you relate with. Because the chances of you being, and I don't want to have to beat on everybody, but that's just speaking layman's terms here. We're all grown ass men and women listening to this show. The chances that we're the 1% that can actually do this by ourselves, slim to none. And if you are and you get somebody to help you, like that's rocket fuel.
Right. I was
Like
just
it's
gonna
gonna
say
go
I'd rather
insane.
not gamble on it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
why
rather
roll the
just
dice?
right. Right. I'd rather be careful, get it right, be sure to get it right. And that is I'm very fortunate, the one company that just brought us on, Ron, I was like, we go through the first thing that we do is we spend 2 months. My whole team gets to know their whole team. We go through their numbers inside and out. It's a freaking it's fun, but it's a full blown physical on your
It's a
business, right?
lot.
Like
When you do that
everything.
kind of business, like it's a lot. Like it's
And this company that we just hired us, we went through this process. Um, they they're in the top 5% already, and I came to him and I was like, "So shoot me straight, like why are you hiring us?" And the guy just straight up he goes, "It's an insurance policy, dude." Because we know we're gonna kill it. We know we're gonna kill it. We're already killing it, but like, I mean, this is it just can't hurt. I'm like, I love it.
But
That's
that's the difference. Like, here's the thing: is like those 1% of people that can do it, then they do stuff like that, where
they
they're
do.
just like, I mean, how much better could I be?
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm it, but like, I think we could be better if I brought somebody else
Yep.
along. And that's that people first.
It is. And
It's never
that was
about
their
us.
first priority was their first priority was I want you to find every way we could be a better place to work. Let's start there. Make a list. Let's find every way we could be a better place to work. So and within reason, they'll probably have 5 or 6 initiatives in the coming year that some of it costs money, most of it doesn't. Of just what do we do to be a better place? So anyway, dude, that's my answer to what makes a construction champion.
I love it. I love it, man. For all the champions out there listening, if they wanted to connect with you, follow you, where's the best places to do that?
So I'm on LinkedIn. I post a lot there. Chad Prinkey, follow me on LinkedIn. I wrote this book, Well Built. It's on Amazon. It's a bestseller across a bunch of different categories. It should be pretty easy to find. So that would be something to check out. And then you can go to our website, which is www.wellbuiltconsulting.com. Those would be the
Awesome,
3 different
man.
avenues I would direct you. Oh, and you know what? We also have a podcast of our own where we interview people who are creating positive change in the industry, people who are telling stories about what they've done to kind of, make the industry a better place to work. It's called the Morning Huddle Construction Show. So you can check that out as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll get all those links in the show notes as well. And thank you for taking the time to be on the show, man. I have loved this conversation today.
Me too. Yeah, it's been a blast to get to know you and talk shop.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. This is one of my favorite things I get to do these days. So, Construction Champions, another episode in the bag. Well, I know we're probably all currently listening, beating our chest, saying, I am the 1%. I'm going to do this. You know, I'll give you props because like you're taking the time to listen to this show. So like that shows you're in the top echelon. But what do I always say on here? Is that 99% of the people, this is all what it, like I just assume this. I've talked to our listeners. I can put the math together in my head with the people I've talked to and how many listeners we have. And I believe the number is 99% of our listeners don't do shit after they listen to an episode of our podcast. And we have amazing guests come on here and give you actionable stuff you can go do. If the one thing you do is go and buy its book, like that is better than 99% of the listeners. But to be that 1%, you got to read it. Then you got to put the stuff into play. And see, this is where it gets hard if you don't have somebody there holding you accountable. I can only hold you so accountable by doing this podcast, releasing it twice a week. You get to hear me get on here and tell you that you need to just take action and do your part. But it's always better to have somebody there to push you along the way, to help see your blind spots, to be able to tell you what the next move should be without you having to guess. Like this is just my personal opinion. I've had there's 200 plus episodes. We've had probably half of them are coaches and consultants on here, and I love every one of them. They all bring a different perspective. There's no reason for you not to have somebody in your corner that is rooting for you to win, and not only rooting for you to win, but they have an outline on how to train you and get you there so you can win that fight. So, Construction Champions, make sure you go check out all of our fantastic sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Hey, construction champions. It's your host, Ron Nussbaum here. And I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12.
Introducing HomeTrack. We create digital new home profiles using homeowner specifications, pictures, and warranty policies, replacing the large paper binders normally provided by home builders to their buyers. We also digitize the final blue tape walkthrough and instantly create a punch list that both builders and homeowners can track until a resolution. By simplifying the handover process, we are saving home builders time and money.